This is, again, a Burlington High School community meeting. Welcome to the July 17th meeting at 7 p.m. The public can access this meeting via WebEx. Meetings are also broadcast live on Burlington Cable Access TV, and video and audio recordings are being made. The Burlington High School Building Committee will hear public comments virtually. Since this is a virtual meeting, we ask that you please identify yourself by typing your name on the screen in advance and state your name verbally once you are identified to speak. We request you please turn on your camera, and comments and statements are limited to 3 minutes. Although we probably aren't going to hold anyone to that for a community meeting, but that's our standard. I just wanted to say thank you all for attending, and we really appreciate it. We'll be providing you an update on the schematic design and who we selected as our construction manager, the proposed plan, and what's next. So I'll go ahead and turn everything over to Terry.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. So here's the agenda here. And I'm going to, before I turn this over to Chris to walk through the schematic design update, I'm going to do like this little thing here where that's the site plan now. And then I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to show something different so that folks can kind of get their bearings as to just you need to wait with me because I'm challenged with this stuff, but I'll get there. Don't worry. Window, where is it? Got it. I was trying to show the Google Earth image, and of course it's no longer there. Does anyone see that? No, probably not.
Are you sharing your screen yet? Or did you change it?
I'm trying.
Okay. Hey, Bob, can you do it?
That one.
I know Bob's pretty
There.
good at that up. There we go.
Does everyone see that? Hopefully.
Yes, we can.
Everyone...
Yes, we can. Yep.
Yeah. So Burlington High School, for those, everyone on this call is probably well familiar with it. This is obviously 3A. You come in here, here's Varsity Field. You come around here, following my cursor, this is the Loop Road, and this is the existing building. And so folks are familiar with the little horseshoe in the front. What we are proposing to do is to basically demolish this center piece. And so when I turn this over to Chris, you're going to have this same sort of orientation. And what you're going to see is, as I move in here, these buildings are going to remain, right? This is all going to get demolished. These are the existing gymnasiums. This is the auditorium over here. So when I turn this back over, this is the kind of same footprint. I have learned that people get confused by the orientation. So I'm merely doing this to try and allow people to understand where they are in the building. So I'm going to stop sharing this. And then I have to switch to this and then share something different, which is this. And then, Chris, I think this is you.
It is me. All right. Good evening, everybody. So Terry did a nice job orienting you on the site. So the gray road that goes around the building is Dottie's Way, and that is going to continue to be there on the end condition. And so the student lot, all of that circulation in terms of traffic is going to remain largely the same. The addition is in the tan color there, and existing portions of the project are in white, and those are the roofs that associate with those different portions. So as Terry noted, the big move here is that we're demolishing all of the interior sort of middle part of the building. That's the most challenged part of the building in terms of accessibilities and renovation to the building to make it suitable for teaching and learning in the 21st century and beyond. So we're demolishing that, keeping some high value item, spaces like the auditorium, gyms, and then doing the addition. there, which is primarily high school component, high school program on the building. So that rounds out the high school portion of the project. And then what we're left with on the upper end of the building is existing structure that can remain. And then right now there's the central admin, there's other supporting education components inside of that. And so we're naming this upper portion the Center for Education. And inside of that is going to become Burlington Early Education. There's already a science center in there. There's some district storage. There's some district welcome center for incoming new families. And then the central admin. All that's on the first floor. I'll go through this floor plan with you in just a second. And up above is some open space for some future tenants to be able to move in. So it kind of gives the town some flexibility and expansion space for the future in what is existing space that we don't have to demolish or do much with right now. So there is a new road that runs right down the middle of the site, which goes through where the existing building was after we tear down the middle of the building. And that you can kind of see it here. It was on the previous plan, the number 4 running through there. And that's a link road that's primarily going to be used for drop-offs and parent queuing for drop-off and pickup. And so that's how the site is broken out, and that road alone should benefit the queuing process that's already on site significantly. You can go to the next plan, Terry.
Did the slide change or no?
There it goes. Got it. All right. So here's the first floor plan of the building. And again, what's in the red box is the renovation scope. So it's existing to remain, keeping gyms and auditorium. Those are sort of high value. Really, they're nice spaces now. We need to do some things to bring them up to code. And then what's outside of that is the addition. And so this first floor is going to match pretty much the level of the music wing and, you know, for all intents and purposes, the auditorium level. And then it goes down just slightly to the end of the wing, which is the second floor above. It's like an elevated floor level above the lowest gym level. So that's how the site kind of works. So there is a floor below this, which we'll show in just a second. And that's, we'll show that in just a second. But this floor contains academic classrooms and arts. The arts are in the sort of purplish color. Anytime you see the red color, reddish pink color, that's going to be administrative spaces. So put those right at the front of the building as visitors and people arrive. They'll have administration right there. And then we've also sprinkled that throughout the building. The peach color and sort of slightly off color from that, tan color, are just general classrooms and other kind of special spaces for different program types. And then the blue colors are related to media or technology in some form or fashion. And so you can see the media center's right there in the middle of the building. It's a 2-story space, so there's kind of a lofty nature to it. But it's vertically centered in the building and also on the floor plate itself centered. You can go to the next slide. And so as this changes, you'll see the second floor and third floors. The second floor is on the sort of lower edge left, justified there. And you can see that media center popping up right there in the blue. And then we have more general classrooms, general education classrooms here. On this level, we have a link connector bridge that connects this floor plate at this level. And what that's really trying to do is make it so that we can have students that might be, say, on the third floor of the big wing to the north, and they might need to be on the second floor of the smaller wing to the south. They can just go downstairs and cross over the wing instead of having to go all the way around the entire loop. And so this connector kind of in the middle of the building vertically allows for easier flow of traffic and and transition from classes. We don't need it on all floors, and so this is a nice way to do that. Creates some good flow, but that's on the second floor. And then the third floor up in the top right there is the science level. And so we have all of our really detailed science labs that need to be near each other. This is the one program that kind of needs that adjacency to their program department. And so, and the classrooms are very specific. Science classrooms have very specific things they need. And so we put those all up on the third floor. This would be the sort of science hub for the building. I think that does it for these two floors. I think the next one is the lower level. And so, as I'd mentioned, this is down at the gym level. You have two very large gyms now, nice gyms. There's a wood gym and a rubber gym. And then we would reconfigure the spaces behind the rubber gym so that we get updated, properly sized locker rooms for boys, girls, and wrestling, and all the sports are accommodated. And then off to the right, there's like the bluish teal color is the cafeteria and food services. And this is a nice place to put that too, because you can have overflow from a sporting event and have the cafeteria wide open for that. You can do a lot with it in this space, including starting to think through and accommodate some emergency services that would be right near where, you know, people would go and congregate if they needed to during an emergency for the gyms. So this is the lower level. That rounds out the high school building. And then the next slide shows the floor plate for the community, the Center for Education. And so right now, the general central admin for the district is all in that area right there, which is a wing of the building. There are students above that on the second floor currently, but we're proposing that would become open tenant space or expanded central admin district services, maybe training spaces or something like that. And then the bottom right, where the cafeteria currently is, it says BECC. So the Burlington Early Childhood Center currently is in one of the wings that's going to be demolished on the first floor. And so we need to make a home for them once the new building is built. And so this does that and also expands their services by adding more classroom and spaces that they need for their programming, which is a good win for them. I think they're getting crowded and capped as well. And then in the middle of this building, we have BCAT, district storage, the support spaces for families and welcome into the district. Those are going to stay where they are, largely unchanged. And then we're going to move the science center closer to the edge that faces the school, and then do some other programming that supports some student services that are not required to be in the high school, but adjacent to the high school and close enough to it, like after school programs like robotics and things like that. So those are all located in the Center for Education. And again, like we said, the second floor is shown to the right. And a lot of that will be either expansion of central admin or future expansion spaces that we will take down most of the walls and then leave it ready for future space, whether education related or just town function generally. So that's what we're planning on doing with the upper building. And again, this is kind of the most bang for your buck because you already have the building and we're not going to take it down and have to do like rebuild later when you need the space. This is a three-dimensional bird's eye view from the south and east.
All right.
And again,
I moved it there.
so from the south and east, and you can start to see Dottie's Way is sort of in the foreground of the buildings there. And even further in the foreground of that is Arlington. I can't remember if it's street or road, but there's Arlington there, which is the closest neighbors. And you could start to see the scale of this, which is a 3-story classroom wing adjacent to very tall program elements of the existing building, which makes the high school, and then the road that cuts through the center and the Center for Education there on the left. On the far left of this, you can see the material palette that we're proposing at schematic design right now, which is a lot of brick masonry, some natural wood tones, and a little bit of metal panel to sort of complement the brutalist concrete look that's already there. And then the existing concrete that's there will get cleaned up and refreshed for the next 100 years of service that it'll support. The next image is spun all the way around to the other side, looking at it from the north and west. And here you can start to see the Center for Education facing back towards the high school. And so we're trying to we have to build a new facade there because that used to be interior space. And so we're going to make that sort of reference back to the high school building where we tore off the existing building. So we're making a whole campus approach here. You can see next to the gym over on the left side there at the bottom of the high school wing, you can see the exposed lower level cafeteria and loading and services there. And so I think that rounds out the conversation around the building and three-dimensional images. And I think that's all for me, Terry.
Yeah, I can hit schedule, but I'm more interested in Q&A to the extent there's folks on the phone that on this meeting that have questions for Chris or me or anybody else. I think now would be a great time to ask those. I can go through schedule and other community events, but we've obviously made a lot of progress and would welcome any questions.
I see one hand up. It was S. I don't see it now. The person went away. There it is.
I just sent the unmute request.
Okay, there we go. Yes, then S. Roselle.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Sarah. I was wondering if you could please describe how students will be entering the building. I noticed that the main entrance is now on the back half, but the student parking is remaining where it is. So how will students be traversing from the parking lot to the school building in the morning and the afternoon?
Sure. Terry, could you show the site plan?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think this will probably work for us here. All right, so there's two ways that we're thinking about it right now. One is the student lot is just right up there towards the top, right underneath where it says meeting. There's a crosswalk that comes straight across the road. And then from there, I think the students have a choice, either go right, and then they can go down towards the cafeteria, cafeterias are commonly a collector space for, before school activities or something like that. That space would be wide open. There's also an entry just between the gyms that they could come up and have access to the entire building there too. But then you can go left and come in, and there's an entrance to the end of the classroom wing. There's an entrance into the courtyard, which could be student entrance. There's an entrance into the art wing, which is the smaller wing. And then there's an entrance at, the technically called main entrance. And most of these entrances for arrival in the morning would be, unlocked and allow students to come and go for a period of like 5-10 minutes or whatever the period is. And then they shut and lock completely. And then if someone's late for school, they got to go all the way around to the main entry to be buzzed in through admin as a secure entry and do the sign in through the proper means. So that is kind of what it is. The interesting fact is that the entrance to the high school currently is right where the corner of the auditorium is. There's a 4 on that drawing right where the road is. You have to come all the way into there to get to the admin block for the main office. And so we're moving that just around the bend, probably maybe 60-70 feet to the front door. And so the distance from the student lot to the front door is not a huge difference from what they're doing currently. just as the design developed. So.
I do not see any other hands up at the moment.
Okay, so then should I just hit some of this, the schedule piece? This is stuff that many of you are well aware of.
Yep.
This focuses on really the next 3 or 4 months. Chris, ourselves, our construction manager, Consigli, will be working. A schematic design update is going to go to them and estimators on Monday. They have 3+ weeks to come up with estimates. We're going to reconcile them. We'll be bringing those to the next SBC meeting on the 14th and presenting that to the select board on the 15th. The intention is to put this to town meeting on the 29th of September. And if successful there, there'll be a debt exclusion vote on the 15th of November. While all of that is going on, we are going to be doing a whole host of other things in terms of meetings and other community outreach. In terms of upcoming community events, I've changed the screen. There's a middle school parent night at Marshall Simons on the 30th. Burlington Day is on Saturday the 2nd. There's a public safety night on the 6th, and we have another one of these planned for the 21st. Other events that are scheduled presently is an SBC meeting next week, which is where we're going to introduce our construction manager and their team and really go through how this job will be built, which I think is, if you can't attend, worthwhile watching, because we will have it on BCAT and on our website. There's a planning board meeting on the 7th, a select board meeting on the 11th that, we intend to attend, and then there's another SBC meeting on the 14th. And so those are events that are coming up. And with that, I don't have anything else. I welcome questions from anyone that's on this broadcast. And the only one that would know that is the man in the command center there, Bob.
Sarah, is your hand up again for a second question?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, Sarah, we welcome questions.
Obviously, with demolishing the central portion of the existing building in order to build this, do we have an idea of where the students will be during that construction phase?
Who wants to answer?
I'll
It will
answer
be
it.
in their existing space, right?
So the plan is we've now got a construction manager on board, and they'll be speaking more broadly in future meetings. But the plan is that we build the entire addition for students in the classroom wings while students are in the existing building. And so there's a sort of phased occupied approach where we can build the entire new wing, then move the students over, and then we can demolish what they're in currently. And that's the general way that that'll work. There's a lot of nuance to that, but that is one of the benefits of this actual option, is that it allowed us to do that without putting kids in modulars or temporary classroom facilities for extended periods of time and raising up cost for temporary facilities. So that's the general, I don't know if that makes sense to you or not.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Just as somebody who's lived through construction in the building while trying to teach, the only thing I would say as a parent, as also as an educator, is please try to keep the demolition to non-teaching hours and non-teaching times as much as possible.
Yeah, so Sarah, I can hit on that. I think now that I hear you speak, you've worked in a school that was an occupied renovation, right?
Currently still is.
Right. Where are you again?
UMass Lowell.
Okay. So what I can tell you is the schedule that we're formulating right now is the principal demolition of that center core is scheduled to occur over a summer. So the intent is to try and minimize disruption to the students, to the staff. Having said that, it's an occupied school that we're going to be building on, and so there, there's that. But massive demolition, the intent is to get rid of that center core over the course of a summer so that students, staff, parents, kids don't experience it.
Perfect.
And
I'm
the
sure
way
Parks
this
and Rec will
lines up-
also be weighing in with all the summer programs too.
Yeah, no, I mean, but I think Burlington is well placed to deal with summer programs through the number of schools that they have. Whether it's the middle school, the 4 elementary schools, one of which will be brand new in a couple years' time as well. So I think we'll be able to move folks around to the extent we need to.
Perfect. Thank you for taking my questions.
Thank you for
We have
asking them.
more. We welcome. Chris Monaco.
You're muted, Miss Monaco.
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I just didn't want to miss the opportunity to bring up what happens if we can't do this, because I think there are people in the community who don't realize the situation we're in with regard to what it would cost, what would happen if we were to have to replace the HVAC or the science area. I worry about the students with that science area. I don't think we're providing for them in that area. So just for the sake of conversation, could Terry and or Chris go over what we face if for some reason we cannot manage to do this project?
I can, and Chris can join in. I mean, effectively, the building is 55 plus years old, right? And it has all existing original mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. And they are all at the end of life, and multiple consultants, engineers, others have deemed that to be the case. So when one of them fails, say all the boilers, and we need to replace all of that, that is going to come at a considerable cost. Not so much in the context of building a new building, but what will happen is, provided it's 30% of the assessed value of the building, the current building is assessed at $57 million. We will far exceed that, having to replace, say, the heating system. Once that happens, under Massachusetts law, you are required to bring that building up to code. And that is from every single piece: mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire suppression, ADA, compliance with all of that, which is effectively renovating the entire building. And we showed the renovation of the entire building, one of our first options. You may remember, which is to renovate 360,000 square feet of the existing building. And that price tag came in at $330 million, which is not too dissimilar to what we're proposing to do now by demolishing a portion of it, building a new wing, and renovating some very large usable spaces, being the gyms, the gymnasium, and the Center for Education. So if it doesn't go forward, the problem doesn't go away. It will be exacerbated if something fails, and then you're forced to do something while the kids are still there. And so that's something that we are currently working on, a video presentation of the do's and the don'ts. If you don't want to do this now? What does that mean in the future? And it's like your own home. You everybody knows when they have a problem. You can only ignore it for so long, and if you continue to ignore it, something will fail, and then you're forced to deal with it as opposed to planning it out in an organized fashion. And I've probably spoken too long, but that's
Terry, let me
Sorry.
just add something. The reason I bring it up, as you know, is because when I talk to people in the community, really people don't understand that either a new HVAC system or new science labs, either one of those projects would cause us to hit the threshold of where we have to bring the building up to code. And to bring the building up to code, as you just said, is going to cost us almost exactly the same of what this project would cost. So I think as we present to people in the community and town meeting, we have to let them know this information. And I'm glad to hear that about the video being made, because it's just so important for people to understand that if we don't do this project, we're still going to end up spending that money, but we won't get the right outcome, and it will be a lot more deleterious, shall we say, for the students, because they will end up in modulars, and it just wouldn't be a pretty picture. But I really think it's incumbent upon all of us to make that case in the community so that people are aware. And that's, why I brought it up.
Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
There's no hand, I'm sorry, through the chair, there are no hands raised.
right.
For those at home, if you're unfamiliar, you can, down the bottom of the screen, click raise your hand if you choose to.
Or you can wave. if you're on camera, we'll see you.
Yeah, that little hand symbol down the bottom is sometimes hard to notice.
Depends on your age.
Funny.
Right.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
might
Did I
pay
say
for
that?
that, Terry.
Did I say that out loud? Oh,
Oh, you only meant to think it, right?
sorry. Well, it's past 7:30, so my filter's off.
All right.
So just so folks know, I mean, I know I mentioned it before. There is an SBC meeting next week. That one is actually virtual. Our construction manager is going to be, they're on tonight, but they're going to be in full force next week. And they're going to show how they are viewing what Chris has shown from the bird's eye view. Like we showed like a Google map and then like the finished product. It takes a few steps. There's like 4 different phases with multiple little steps within those phases, but it will be a very useful thing for parents and folks that are interested to see how we intend to do this. So I welcome folks to dial in next week. It will be on BCAT and posted to our project website at bhsbuildingproject.com next Friday. So thank you all for any that attended tonight.
Okay. Well, I don't see any other hands up. I don't know if we all want to sit here for the next 20 minutes. I don't think anyone else is going to join at this point. So if everybody's okay with it, I'm going to thank everybody who attended the meeting and thank everyone for, being a part of this, and please spread the word. We really need to get as many people to buy in as possible and excited about it as we are. And, please invite them.
Thanks, Catherine. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.
Everybody, thank you.